would also say that's important for people if you know your APOE status, and if you are APOE4, be mindful of snoring as well, because people who are APOE4 positive, they also have a significantly elevated risk of a sleep disorder that we call sleep apnea, which is sleep disordered breathing, which is heavy snoring and then a cessation of breathing entirely. And then you gasp and you wake up again. Heavy snoring, sleep apnea is a killer. It is an outright killer. It increases your risk of basically everything you don't want: cardiovascular disease, stroke, diabetes, and obesity. It also increases your risk of immediate death through higher risk of car accidents. But one of the other problems with sleep apnea is that you don't get the amount of deep sleep that you need, and you have hypoxic damage. Because you stop breathing, your oxygen saturation goes down. You get hypoxia damage, particularly in a region that is most sensitive to it in the brain, which is, drumroll, the hippocampus, the very same memory structure that is attacked in Alzheimer's disease. So now you can see this, why I appealed for this sensitivity and this danger to sleep apnea, because if you are APOE4, you're already at high risk of Alzheimer's disease. You need to pay attention to your sleep. If you start snoring and you have sleep apnea untreated, you will get less deep sleep. So you're compromising the thing that you need to try and lower your amyloid risk to begin with, because you're going to build up that amyloid, because you're not going to get the amyloid clearance elsewhere in the body, for example, in the liver. And then worse still, the part of the brain that is attacked severely by Alzheimer's disease and atrophies, which is the hippocampus, which is why memory fades, is a part of the brain that is damaged when you stop breathing because of oxygen desaturation. So as an appeal, even if you are not APOE4 positive, but you are snoring or you know someone who is snoring, go and see your doctor and get a sleep apnea test. It is potentially life-saving.
I actually had a sleep apnea test because of my night awakenings. I didn't know. I was like, maybe I have apnea and I couldn't. Yeah. And so I'm having this terror. And of course, that wasn't it. I didn't have sleep apnea. But I didn't know about the connection between APOE4 and sleep apnea. That's terrible.
Yeah,
because
it's quite a dramatic.
Yeah,
and when you combine those two together, right, it's a real. I mean, it's gasoline on an already.
People with APOE4 also don't repair damage in their brain as well as people with APOE3. So if you're talking about hypoxic damage in addition, you know, there's sort of just this potentially compounding effect.
And I think that's that's part of the reason. I mean, I have some family members that have been associated with Alzheimer's disease. One recently passed away, and it's been a big motivation for me personally. I started, 20 years ago. My PhD was looking at people with degenerative dementias. That's how I actually got into sleep, because I was seeing these sleep abnormalities, and I'm so desperately trying to find ways to help and to combat that incredible epidemic of dementia. Mm-hmm.